Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 13th of September. It is a Wednesday. We have a 7-game main slate. We have a bunch of games just spread out throughout the day. The early featured slate on DK is just 3 games. Not really going to focus on pitching for that. Since it's 3 games, it's kind of a all aboard thing. But for the 7-game main, let's start out at the top. We get Blake Snell taking on the Dodgers. A slight underdog. The Dodgers are a minus 130 favorite. Blake Snell, potentially a front runner for the Cy Young. I'm not sure betting odds if it's he or Justin Steele right now, but last I looked, Blake Snell is the betting favorite. Has allowed some runs to the Dodgers, but plenty of strikeouts. Not many hits. They just don't get hits against him. Hasn't been quite as strong fantasy point wise on the road. I think he's viable against the Dodgers squad. I don't love taking pitching against the Dodgers, but there are obviously options to use against them at times, and Snell would definitely fall in that. Just 10.1K, very intriguing. He hasn't been this cheap for a month now, so tough spot, but I think he's viable for us. There is upside. Zach Gallen has not been as strong on the road. We definitely know that. ERA is exactly double what his home ERA is. His K numbers drop quite a bit. Home run rate skyrockets. He had a couple rough starts in a row recently, but that was against 2 playoff teams. Came back and complete game shutout against the Cubs in his previous start, and that was on the road. It helped being in Wrigley because that was a stretch of a few games where the wind was blowing in. But Gallen is a minus 145 favorite in this matchup, so I will be using some, not as heavy as I would be if he was at home, to be honest. Ryan Pepiot looked phenomenal in his last start. It was just the Marlins. He's looked really strong just at the major league level in general. K's haven't quite been there. They were against Cleveland, surprisingly, but just 3 and then 5. San Diego is a dangerous opponent, but they can struggle at times, and there are definitely outs in that lineup. So I think Pepiot is an excellent GPP option because I just don't see him being super popular at his price point. Yusei Kikuchi. He has been best at home, coming off a pretty solid start against Kansas City. He hasn't been terrible recently. Even his outing at Coors only allowed 2 earned, but the walks were up. I'm interested just because some of the Texas lineup has struggled, and they are definitely missing Adolis Garcia. It's not the easiest of spots by any means, but I'm definitely interested. He's a minus 120 favorite in this game. Jordan Montgomery has struggled recently. Wasn't very sharp against Toronto the first time he faced them. I'm going to pass on Montgomery. Just not interested, I guess. I don't know that his upside is all that strong in this matchup. Hunter Brown, man, the A's definitely got the Verlander last night. It just looked like he was throwing everything down the middle. We have Hunter Brown, a minus 278 favorite. He has made 3 starts against Oakland, has been dominant in those 3 starts, averaging nearly 8 Ks per start. Hasn't been as strong at home, has had some struggles recently, which I attribute to kind of yo-yoing between the bullpen and then the rotation again. So his recent trends aren't the greatest, but I still have to believe in the fact that Oakland has the weakest offense in baseball, and he's done it 3 times against them this season. Clevenger has had some great outings. Wasn't great against Kansas City the first time he faced them. From a fantasy point perspective, he only allowed 3 hits in that game, so I guess he was pretty solid. Uh, he's coming off of a great start at Detroit, but the start before that he was lit up by Detroit. He's kind of on an every other start stretch over the last handful, but I do like the spot. I just don't like the pitcher. Um, Looking for a Vegas line. It looks like they're minus 160 favorites. Game total of just 8, so I think Clevenger is definitely an option for us. Miami minus 115 favorite in this game. Braxton Garrett has been great on the road. Only went 3 2/3. Must have pitched in relief in that one, long relief. I really like Braxton Garrett. K numbers are all over the place. The Brewers have started to hit left-hand pitching better with all their acquisitions in the second half. But I do have some interest in Garrett because I do think that he has 25 fantasy point upside. It's been a while since he got there, but he went through a hot stretch in June where he was there 3 straight starts. So it's certainly viable. I'm just not sure how heavy I want to go just yet. Clark Schmidt, the Boston Red Sox are a minus 130 favorite in this game. Schmidt has not been good on the road. Been solid against the Red Sox this year in 3 starts, averaging about a K per inning. Not too bad overall. I'm just not really excited about using Clark Schmidt in Fenway. Tanner Houck, solid against the Yankees so far. The last couple outings have not been solid, but I think there's upside in the matchup. It kind of depends on what lineup we get with the Yankees. We saw the lineup be pretty weak yesterday because of the doubleheader. I mean, I definitely would prefer Hulk over Clark Schmidt, but I'm going to take Braxton Garrett over Hulk right now in my builds. Paul Blackburn, no thanks against the Astros. He did shut them down the first time he faced them. He just hasn't been as strong on the road. Joey Lucchesi, I'm interested, but I feel like we've been burned by this before. You know, we see him put up a strong performance, and then we get excited, and then he comes back with not much at all. He's getting called up for this one. I don't mind it at all, really. Arizona is a minus 145 favorite, like I said, with Gallen on the mound, but Lucchesi has some upside in this matchup, I do believe. I think a couple of Arizona's main bats against left-handed pitching have been struggling, like Christian Walker being one. So maybe there is upside with Lucchesi. Colin Wright expected to be the long reliever. I do have a little bit of interest in him. Not a ton, his upsides might be capped at around 25, but we are looking for guys that can get us 25. So I am interested enough in him. I probably do like the fact that he's a long man just because I think there's a chance we only see him go 4 innings. And obviously, if he started, they wouldn't line him up for the W. But there we have it. Alec Marsh doesn't really do it for me. He's looked decent in 3 out of his last 4 from a fantasy point standpoint. I think some of that has to do with some high K numbers. Um, Definitely has not been as strikeout heavy on the road. Giving up plenty of home runs being an issue, but I don't think I'm going to get there. I'll have to consider that a little bit more. You know, these two projected long relievers uh, at cheap price points. You know, if we can get up to 25 or we can get 25 from them, then of course they'd be in my pool. But I'm gonna have to think about it as the day goes on. So there we have it. There's my first look at pitching for the main slate today. If you enjoy what I do to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on to get that alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, it's RAZ, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.